What is up, everybody? How you guys doing today? My name is David Franco, and welcome to another video game collection video. Yesterday, I posted my collection of, well, my PlayStation 2. And if you guys want to check that out, please do so. I appreciate it. Going in, I figured, well, first of all, why not continue the PlayStation trend and just get my PlayStation 3 out of the way? Yes, out of the way. But anyway, going in, I just want to say one thing. My PlayStation 3 collection is not all that impressive. Just as of, maybe a few weeks ago, I had maybe 7 or 8 games. So in other words, half of these games I recently bought from Goodwill, or I recently decided to move from my eBay inventory over into my own personal collection because, well, I'm just trying to build my video game collection. Because I do want to say this real quick, and then I'll get to the games, I promise. I'm not looking for hate, but I will always keep things real on this channel. And while I do think there are some people out there who will actually agree with the following statement, PlayStation 3, in my opinion, it was okay. It was okay. And by that I mean, it's definitely my least favorite PlayStation console out there. I just was not a big PlayStation 3 fan. Like, I was much more into the Xbox 360. Guys, I was a proud Xbox 360 fanboy back then. And honestly, I'm still a proud Xbox fanboy. Meaning I've sold 2 of my PlayStation 5 consoles. And by 2, I mean both of them. Meaning I don't have a PS5 console in this house at this moment. Because for me personally, the PlayStation 5 just didn't do much for me. I've got my Switch, I've got my Xbox Series X, I've got 2 Xbox Series S consoles, and I've got my PC. And by Switch, I mean my Switch 2. So I've got plenty of gaming to keep me occupied. And while the PlayStation 5, it just didn't do much for me. It has some good games here and there, but I just don't think it's all that great. However, with that said, I definitely plan on buying myself a used PlayStation 5 at some point in the near future, because there are some games I want to catch up on, including Death Stranding. And no, I'm not looking into the PC version, because I've always been curious about Death Stranding, and now that Death Stranding 2 is in the headlines, not gonna lie, I'm a little curious. Okay, this wouldn't be a David DeFranco video without some rambling, and that's why I'm never gonna change, guys. I'm not a clickbaity kind of content creator. I can say this with confidence. I'm never gonna change, you know, for the worst. I like being real. Seriously, guys, go back 10 to 15 years and I guarantee you can find videos like this, you know, on my channel with this same exact format. I don't clickbait, I don't be dramatic, I'm just myself. So anyway, that's the whole point of videos like this. Sit back and relax, and no, I'm not going to show any gameplay, I'm just going to talk. Okay, so much like yesterday's video, I do have my games organized downstairs in alphabetical order when going from left to right. But for today's purpose, we're just going to go backwards in the alphabet. And with that said, we're going to start out with a game I just don't care about, Virtual Tennis 3. Now, I'm sure it's fun, and I kind of recall playing Virtual Tennis on the Sega Dreamcast, I'm pretty sure, and I think I liked it. I'm just not a big sports guy. I mean, honestly, the closest I get to enjoying sports is NFL Blitz, some kind of 3D mini golf game, and maybe some Pong-like sports, such as tennis. And well, anyway, I bought this, I believe, at Goodwill. I'm sure I got it for cheap, maybe like $3 or $4, and I decided to make it part of my collection. You know why? Because why not? Next up, Uncharted 3. I'm a huge fan of Uncharted. I've played and beat all of the Uncharted games, even the one on PlayStation Vita. Great game. The jumping has always been, you know, dramatically consistent across all titles. But that's what makes Uncharted so much fun, just exploring uncharted territory, climbing mountains and hills and jumping over big-ass gaps that are impossible to jump in real life. Guys, the Uncharted series is just so much fun. Not gonna lie, I'm not like a big fan of the story. I don't get into a lot of video game stories, except for The Last of Us, hence why I've got it playing in the background. I absolutely love The Last of Us, single player and multiplayer. More on that in a bit. But as for Uncharted, I just enjoy these games because they're beautiful and they're so much fun to play. Like, they are a ton of fun to play. I just love exploring and, you know, whatever. Uncharted's great. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, same exact deal. I mean, I'm just going to say what I just said about Uncharted 3. Great game, a lot of fun to explore. I love adventure games, I love platformers. So, I mean, I recall enjoying this game. I don't think there was ever an Uncharted game that I didn't enjoy. Apologize for the noise in the background. My freezer's making ice. Yes, we're still going through a heat wave. Good times. Uncharted Drake's Fortune. I'm actually surprised I don't own the original label of this game. For some reason, I have the greatest hits version. It is what it is. At least I have it. So there you go. The original Uncharted. Awesome game. Thief. Brand new in the plastic. Apparently I found this at Goodwill. I know that because that's that typical yellow sticker that I'm used to seeing almost every day there. I guess I never opened this. So there you go. Now the disc is loose. Now I know for a fact I've played through Thief. Either way, I have played through that game in its entirety. I do recall it being not all that great. I think I have it on Xbox One? Xbox 360? One of them. Probably Xbox One. I recall enjoying Thief, but the game was very sloppy, mechanically speaking, and I'm very picky when it comes to a game's mechanics, but I kind of forced myself, through that game, and I'm kind of glad I did, because that was the first and only Thief game I ever beat from beginning to end. But for whatever reason, I don't have this open. Maybe one day I'll get around to playing it. Sports Champions. This I never opened because I found it at Goodwill. This is one of those games that sat in my eBay inventory for the longest time. Nobody wants to buy it. I mean, I think Sony was trying to pull off a Wii Sports kind of success, but they didn't even come close. Because I don't think most people own the PlayStation Move controllers. I do. Oh wait, did I sell them? Either way, they were pretty fun for a little while from what I can recall. I don't have like strong memories with the PlayStation Move controllers like I do with the Wii. The Wii was just so much better. But that's just my point. Sony was trying to replicate Nintendo's success, and they just couldn't pull it off. Hence why I literally could not sell this on eBay. I took it off my store, and I decided to make it part of my own personal collection. And eventually, one of these days, I'll open it and play it. The Sims 3. Never played this one on PlayStation 3. This is another game I found at Goodwill for cheap. I decided to make it part of my collection. However, don't freak out. I have indeed played plenty of The Sims 3 on PC. But again, I got this at Goodwill, so I figured why not make it part of my collection. But I will also say this. I kind of fell off when it comes to The Sims. I absolutely loved The Sims 1, 2, and 3. I don't think I ever really got into The Sims 4 too much. I think I went through like my 2-week phase and that's about it. But hey, I'm just gonna say this. Nothing can ever beat the original Sims games. Sims 1 and 2. Guys, I'll never forget. My mom and I and my sister, we used to go to the diner, well, that too, but we used to always go to the mall every Friday before going to the diner. We would go our own separate ways, me being the gamer in the house. I would always go to GameStop and EB Games and the bookstores to find the video game magazines. And I will never, ever forget, our GameStop was by the food court, right? And I would just stare, absolutely stare at the original Sims PC box art. Just staring at these beautiful mansions, these beautiful house creations, and thinking to myself, my God, I need this game in my life. I absolutely need it. And ever since then, I've loved The Sims. And I think that night, I actually convinced my mom to buy me The Sims. So Mom, thank you. I love you. You're just the best. And I say that because it's cool to have parents in your family that actually support you as a gamer. Because I know for a fact, there's a lot of broken families out there that think gaming is a waste of time. It's not. Gaming inspires your creativity. Whether you're 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, almost 40 years old, or 80 years old. Guys, I will be gaming until the day I die. But anyway, point aside, yeah, that's just a favorite memory of mine, just obsessing over the Sims box art in GameStop. And ever since then, I've just loved The Sims. I'm sorry, said that kind of backwards. Motorstorm, Pacific Rift, another game I found at Goodwill. Eventually, I'll play it. I did play the original Motorstorm on PlayStation 3 when my old friend Josh used to bring it over. Yeah, it was a cool game. I never got into Motorstorm like I got into like Gran Turismo and whatever else I play. But hey, I'm glad I own this. And guys, that's the whole point of buying games for cheap. I can put it aside. I don't really feel bad about putting it aside because it cost me, what, $3 or $4? Eventually, I might get around to playing it. I'm not going to play all these games in my life. It's just impossible. I don't have enough time in my day, but at least I can build up my collection. And speaking of Metal Gear Solid, the Phantom Pain, is it called? This one I never played, but much like the other games in my collection, I found this at Goodwill for like $3 or $4. Apparently some store was selling it for $20. Is this the one a lot of people didn't enjoy? I recall playing a demo. I think it was of this. I'm pretty sure I enjoyed the demo. But to me, it just didn't feel like a Metal Gear Solid game. And by that, I mean the original Metal Gear Solid games on PlayStation 1. And PlayStation 2 for that matter. So, much like a lot of my collection, eventually I might get around to playing this. Guys, I was just not a big PlayStation 3 fan. Like, I mean, if you haven't noticed, half of these games so far I haven't even played because I found them after the fact at Goodwill. Eventually. Little Big Planet. Okay, this was actually my game and still is my game. I loved Little Big Planet. I feel like this is a series that doesn't get enough love. I feel like it deserves more attention. But from what I can recall, I really enjoyed Little Big Planet because I'm a big physics guy. Like, I love physics in video games. And while this is the ultimate playground, guys, like, it just allows you to manipulate, you know, the position of objects and have those objects interact with other objects. I've just always loved that sort of thing in video games. So, yes, I am honored to say I do indeed own the original Little Big Planet. I can make an entire video about this alone. The Last of Us. The original Last of Us on PlayStation 3. Now, real quick, I do own The Last of Us Definitive Edition, I think they called it. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Tomb Raider, or whatever they call that for Tomb Raider. The Last of Us Remastered. I owned that on PlayStation 4, and that's definitely the better version. Guys, it basically takes this game and turns it into a 60 frames per second game with high-res textures and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure that's the one they're playing back here. Yeah. That's definitely running at 60 frames per second. It's super smooth. That might even be the PC version. I'm not sure. But I can tell you this for a fact. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all times. It's one of the very few storylines in gaming I actually care about. Most video games I play because I enjoy the visuals, the mechanics, the humor, the audio design. Story to me is not really all that important. For example, I love the Halo franchise. I've played pretty much all the Halo games except for Halo Wars. But I just enjoy Halo for the combat, the visuals, and the audio design. I don't really play it for the story because at the end of the day, it's not really going to change my life. I just enjoy games because they're fun. But The Last of Us is one of those stories I actually think about off camera and while I'm not playing video games because it really does mean the world to me. Like, I love The Last of Us. Fantastic game. I don't have any major complaints about it. And the multiplayer was incredible. My God, the multiplayer was so good, much better than it should have been. And unfortunately, we never got a multiplayer experience on The Last of Us Part 2. I think I recall reading a while ago that Naughty Dog was working on, you know, a dedicated multiplayer experience, you know, separate from The Last of Us. But I think it was canned. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was canceled a while back, which sucks because there's not a lot of, you know, unique multiplayer experiences out there these days. We've always had the typical games like Fortnite and Warzone and Valorant. Yeah, they're all fun, but there's nothing truly unique about those games. The Last of Us multiplayer was unique. It was just so good. Basically, it combined crafting materials with stealth gameplay and setting up traps and all that stuff. So much fun. Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. I found this at Goodwill not too long ago. It's actually pretty heavy, which is really cool. I've heard Prologue is not a very good game. I think it's kind of like a demo of the actual GT5 game. I'm not a huge Gran Turismo guy. I kind of fell off after Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec on PlayStation 2. I made my PlayStation 2 video, but Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec was not there. Did I sell that? I hope I didn't sell that game. I don't think I would. Dude, I just had a moment. Why is that game not in my collection? Guys, this takes me back to the days of my PlayStation 1 collection video that I made in the basement. Twisted Metal 2 is my favorite Twisted Metal game of all time. But that's not in my collection for some reason. And I know for a fact I will never sell that. I think I've got games in storage somewhere. Guys, I'm not even joking. Like, I think I have a bunch of games for whatever reason sitting in a box. Guys, I would not sell Twisted Metal 2. I would not sell Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Where are those games? Anyway, maybe I'll mention those games in a future vlog if or when I ever find them. Grand Theft Auto 4. Great game. Obviously not as good as Grand Theft Auto 5. That's the best in the series in my opinion. But Grand Theft Auto 4 was cool. Hey Nico, you want to go bowling? So yeah, great game. And guys, honestly, every time I think about GTA 4, not only do I think about the memes, you know, the whole bowling meme, but I also think about the glitch where you would basically find a swing set, right? And you would take your car up the pole and you would literally fly across the map. It was so cool. So cool. And I think this is the first GTA to support online, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Very cool. Broadband required. I don't think anybody uses the term broadband anymore. At least in America, we don't. G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. Not a G.I. Joe fan at all, but I was lucky enough to find this brand new at Goodwill. I don't think it's really worth anything, but it's always nice having a brand new game in the plastic. There's just something special about it. Fallout 3. I think Fallout is one of the most overrated, overhyped games in gaming history. I said it, and I'm not going to take it back. I realize people play Fallout for the story. And by the way, I got this at Goodwill. I would never buy, you know, this full price. I mean, I will say the box art is beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful box art. Anyway, Fallout to me is definitely more of a story-based game and doing things how you want. I mean, guys, I'm a big fan of open world games, which is why I'm so obsessed with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch and Switch 2. But Fallout, I have yet to be impressed by Fallout for one major reason: mechanics. I don't care how good the story is or how much fun it is to play. Guys, the mechanics in this game are a joke. It's pure slop. It just feels like it was developed by some indie company that came out of nowhere. But no, this is Bethesda we're talking about. They've got millions, maybe billions of dollars in the bank. But for whatever reason, they continue to put out sloppy games like Fallout. I don't know why. Guys, I don't know the first thing about video game development, but they have the resources to make a game that feels good. A game that feels like Halo or Destiny or something. Yes, I realize those games are not related to Fallout, but I'm talking about like these games that just feel tight and well designed. Like, basically a first-person game that doesn't feel janky when you try to jump over the smallest curb off of a street, or clunky combat when you're trying. I mean, guys, the same thing goes for Elder Scrolls, and I actually really enjoy the Elder Scrolls games, but they're up there with Fallout in my opinion. They're fun for a while, but eventually I just get annoyed by the sloppy mechanics. I don't understand why they don't put more care and attention into finalizing these games. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about it too much, because I realize people are going to be tearing me apart in the comments, and believe me, I deserve it. Tear me up, guys. I don't care. I don't care. But I'm never, ever going to change my opinion. Fallout is Fallout is definitely the most overhyped gaming franchise out there. I said it, and I'm not going to change my mind. Guys, let's just put it this way. I have more respect for Cyberpunk than I do for any Fallout game. And I say that because Cyberpunk is one of the worst gaming experiences I ever had at launch. The game would literally get worse with each software update, but I know for a fact they have been working their asses off to finalize the game and just making it better and better and better. Fallout, unfortunately, it doesn't get better. They put it out and they don't really improve the overall mechanics of the game. I'm very passionate if you can't tell. CSI, this game I'm not passionate about. I found it at Goodwill. I actually might play this because I feel like it would be one of the fun, cheesy games to play. So, maybe at some point. Call of Duty 3. Fun fact, my first ever Call of Duty game. Yes, I actually owned this on PlayStation 3. No, I don't recall it being overall that good, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people will agree. COD didn't really truly take off until Modern Warfare or even Modern Warfare 2. Like that was the first true big Call of Duty multiplayer experience. Modern Warfare 2 was incredible. It doesn't age well in my opinion. That's another hot take. But for its time, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. But anyway, my point is COD 3, I mean, I'm glad I own it, but I definitely recall it being not all that great. I don't know. I just don't think it was a great game. And yes, this video might put off a very negative vibe. That's not my intentions, guys. Guys, I'll say it again. I just was not a big PlayStation 3 fan. PS1 I loved. PS2 I loved. PS3, PS4 I loved. PS5, guys, it still has some time to grow on me. I'll say that. BioShock 2. Big BioShock fan. But keep in mind, I only had BioShock 2 on PlayStation 3 because I found this at Goodwill for cheap. so I figured I'd make it part of my collection. But yes, I have played and beat every single BioShock game out there on Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and maybe one or two of them on PC as well. BioShock Infinite really, really surprised me. Like, that was a really fun game. I say that because it wasn't as dark as BioShock 1 and 2, but BioShock 2 was great. This game, I definitely recall taking everything I loved about BioShock 1 and making it better, literally doubling it from 1 to 2, because you could actually dual wield weapons. Like, my cat Gabby is definitely itching to jump up, on my desk, but I don't want her to knock my coffee over. Assassin's Creed 3, I don't know if I ever played this. I must have gotten this for cheap at Goodwill. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan like the rest of the world seems to be, but I definitely recall enjoying this, the original Assassin's Creed. But fun fact, or not so fun fact, I never beat it, and I'm ashamed to say that because I know for a fact this is a good game. But I definitely recall younger David. Back then, I just didn't beat my games as much. Yeah, I got stuck at a part. I just didn't know where to go or something like that. Hey, Gabby, you want to jump up? Come on. So I just gave up and moved on, or back over to my Xbox 360, because I was definitely a huge Xbox 360 fan. Hey, Gabby. Just in time. Alright, guys. I am done. Thank you so much for watching my PlayStation 3 collection video. I realize this is probably my most controversial collection video, because I just was not a big PS3 guy. But keep in mind, I'm not like a PlayStation hater. I just wasn't into it like I was into my PS1, PS2, and especially my PS4. My PS4 got a lot of love, and I think I'll make that video next, or my N64 collection next. So, what do you want to say? 64 or PlayStation 4? Let me know right below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy gaming! I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Come on. And she's back.